Let's look at this huge industry of grief from dog ownership. So, we're over here on the internet just looking at some summaries. So, dog owners right now, they spend more time with their dogs. More and more and more, it's just all about dogs are better, best friend, four legged friend. People push dogs out of their life. And at the end of the day, this is not as great as everybody thinks it is. It's like a habit. It's like being addicted to those dopamine hits. Well, here's a couple articles talking about how pet owners aren't as happy as they think they are. All of the antisocial stuff that goes right along with this, anti-child, anti-self. People even give up their own quality of life to worship these dogs. So yeah, this is all about pushing humans out of your life and spending more and more time and money on your dog. While you claim humans are not as good as these dogs. So as we fill our society with more and more dogs, inevitably those dogs will die. It's just a fact of life. But according to sources, when a dog dies or a pet dies, it's as profound as losing a human. And I can understand that. I mean, it's kind of bullshit because a dog is a dog, a human is a human. But you're emotionally connected to this dog for all this time. And another thing that happens while people are getting emotionally connected to their dog, what else is going on in their life? Less and less human contact. Any effort you put into your dog, that's effort that it doesn't go to one of your fellow humans. Posting the thing up on Facebook, everything. All the money you spent on cancer, all the money you spent on stuff for the dog, that's not going to your fellow humans. One of the things that dog owners spend a whole ton of money on is cancer treatments for dogs. These things are ridiculously expensive, and people will keep their dogs alive way, way past the time that the dog should have been humanely euthanized. There used to be a time if a dog was very severely injured and it looked like trying to take care of him for a couple years was going to be just more suffering for the dog, it used to be the dog would be put down. Like if a farmer or rancher had a dog like that, they would tell the kids and the wife to go inside and make dinner, and they would go handle business with the dog, and then they would remember the good memories of the dog and move on. But nowadays, people are forced to keep these dogs alive longer and longer. And during the years that they keep these dogs alive, I mean, you can read up hundreds of stories about this. But during the years that they keep these dogs alive, way past their healthy prime, the people suffer more emotional connection with the dog through watching the dog suffer, shit itself, piss itself, bleed out on the floor a little bit, wake up in the middle of the night and the dog is whining and crying and stuff like that. So when these dogs finally die, it's leaving these people freaking wrecked. Like they don't even have any good memories of their dog anymore because they spend 2 or 3 years dealing with doggy cancer or brain cancer. Bill O'Reilly, famous person, very similar story just happened with him. He put it all over YouTube. And this cancer treatment for dogs, it's overwhelming. It's ridiculously expensive. But did you know how you can get this paid for? Do you know how dog owners and other organizations can pay for these expenses? Like, look at some of this money: $3,500 for an MRI. Check out this story from CBS News right here: 7.1 billion in 2001, 15.7 billion in 2015. So this is a huge industry selling these poor dog owners a bunch of treatment for a dog that probably should have died 5, 2, 3, maybe even 10 years ago. But one of the ways that this gets paid for is they just make taxpayers pay for it. So if you go out there and get yourself a quick and easy service dog designation, you can write off a ton of this stuff. So while you sit there blowing your money and time on all of this dog expense, telling everybody that dogs are better than humans. Guess who's funding you? Yeah, the American taxpayer is funding a lot of this. A lot of this keeping these poor, sick dogs alive for longer and longer. Dogs are better than humans. Right, but your fellow humans are paying for this. The same fellow humans that you're talking about, you don't need because you got yourself a dog. So if you ever wonder about this, did you notice that like everybody is trying to list their dog as a service dog now? And did you notice that like doctors and other organizations don't really have any pushback? I mean, so many doctors out there, they see all of the nasty dog attacks. They see dogs laying in beds for 1, 2, 3 years on these cancer treatments, living a life of filth and suffering, pain meds every day, cancer treatments every day for dogs. They see all this nastiness, yet they hand out these service dog listings to people like crazy. So we're back to this whole concept that I've talked about before. Dog culture itself is the worst abuser of dogs. If you're deadly sick and you're definitely going to die very soon, don't you want to just go out with some good memories? Or do you want to be stuck in a memory foam bed with chemotherapy and a bunch of meds every day, shitting and pissing yourself while your face turns into a bunch of pus and your body has boils all over it? Do you want to live like that? No. Do you think your dogs want to freaking live like that? But that's what this dog culture is all about. Keeping all these dogs alive longer, emotionally screwing over their owners, all for the sake of super expensive cancer medications that can be funded by the taxpayer. This is like socialized communist medicine, too, with this dog culture. You ever wonder why there's so much information out there telling you how to put your dog expenses onto the taxpayer? H&R Block, TurboTax, TaxSlayer.com. They'll all help you figure out how to do this. Get yourself a dog, and American taxpayer will pay for it, or help you pay for it somehow. You're already using the taxpayer-funded dog parks. You're already polluting the taxpayer-funded runoff water with all that feces your dog brings in. But hey, we'll find some more ways to make Americans pay for your nasty hobby. Oh yeah. So having a country full of emotionally damaged people, people that are running around full of guilt, full of grief. Yes, guilt is a huge part of this because they feel guilty. They couldn't keep the dog alive, they just couldn't. We spent all this money, thousands and thousands of dollars, on all these pharmaceuticals for the dog, thousands of dollars on pharmaceuticals once the dog dies because we're so sad. Well, who do you think's loving that? Dun dun dun. Yeah. What company do you think wants you to own a bunch of dogs? Well, this company that I'm blue highlighting, they're not going to directly say that, but what they'll do is they'll funnel a bunch of money over to this organization, and then this organization will try to put a dog in every home. Dogs are your best companion. 59 benefits of owning a dog. Erase your stress. Own 4 corgis today. Right. But then owning those dogs equals pushing humans out of your life while charging your fellow humans for your spoiling of the dog. And then when the dog finally dies, you expect all the humans to come back in and give you a bunch of attention and give you a bunch of human-made pharmaceuticals. Yeah. So that is the cost on society of dog ownership through all of this grief, through all of this keeping these dogs alive way too long, pushing humans out of our life, funneling money to the companies that are going to pump these dogs full of drugs to keep them alive longer. And then when they finally die, well, we're going to need these companies to, sell us. This company is going to need to sell us some stuff so we can handle this grief and guilt from our dead dog. And all those humans that we pushed away, that we refused to spend money on when we had the dog, now we're expecting those humans to come back and hug us and kiss us and moral grandstand with us about what great people we were for giving up all this time and money for dogs. See you guys later.